all this overthinking.
Howdy people. Welcome back to the channel. Please do a like, follow, and subscribe and all that, and put a random comment in the comment section if you haven't got a question, because it apparently helps the algorithm. So shove an emoji down there. What's your favorite emoji at the moment? I've got the amazing Darren back again. This time we're doing a Zoom call instead of interviewing at a hotel, because you guys seem to like him. Don't know why. And we're going to have a bit of a general photography chatter today. I'm going to do a few of these sort of Zoom style calls. I've got some photography friends and cosplay friends that are more than happy to get on chat. And we thought we'd have some fun through the next few weeks. So everyone should know who you are, Darren, but do you want to give us the 30-second elevator pitch?
So yeah, I'm Darren. I'm iPhoto UK.
Oh, I like the branding. I didn't see that.
Me. Thank you. Very cyberpunky, very me. So yeah, most people know me on the cosplay photography scene, but I'm also a director of Secret Con. I shoot non-cosplay photography in my own life, as well as being a working photographer, mainly around sort of lifestyle and product and portrait photography.
Absolutely amazing. So we've got a few different topics to discuss today. I don't know if we're going to get through all of them because I don't want this to be a 2-hour long video. But we'll see what we get through. So I've sort of been sent some questions via Instagram, via comments. So a lot of people want to know about the photographer's creative process. So why don't you give us a start on that? What is your creative process when you get to a con?
So specifically at cons, on the run up to an event, I will generally post a story to say that I'm attending, get people interacting with me to say that they're going and they might want to shoot. From that, I'm generally quite picky these days of who I shoot with. We only get so many hours in a day. Cons are expensive, so we need to make our time count. And I'm generally quite choosy around cosplays and styles that suit my current profile aesthetic on Insta, which is generally sort of sci-fi, cyberpunk, cinematic. But I'll also look for new cosplayers that I haven't worked with before that may push outside of my comfort zone. I'll also check out people's stories myself. I'll check out the cosplay groups on the likes of Facebook, etc. See who's going, see who's posting what cosplays. And I'll generally start to build a bit of a rough profile of probably 2 or 3 people each day that I want to shoot with. The rest of it, I just say to people, come and find me, keep an eye on my stories, drop me a DM on the day, see where I'm shooting, and let's create some cool stuff. I slightly controversially, with regards to some of the what the events like, I don't
controversial, never.
Never. I don't tend to like shooting stuff at cons that looks like it's been shot at a con. I don't like loads of people in the background, loads of con goers. I much prefer either closer up portraits to cut that out, or stuff slightly away from the main con area. It's a little bit more creative. And again,
this kind of leads into what we were talking about in the last video.
Yes.
And I completely agree. So I'm okay with people in the background in certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I shot the Heroic Geek, who was doing a Bucky cosplay. God, I can't talk. It's not even early, it's like 10:30. And I wasn't the one drinking last night, it was you.
I know.
So he did a Bucky cosplay, and that could almost be set. That kind of looked like what do you call it? New York underground train, like subway shoot. So that kind of worked. But apart from that, I try and retouch everyone out of the background.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I know AI is controversial and all that, but AI is bloody amazing for
I've
background
not actually
people
tried it for
removal.
that. I've not
You
actually
know
tried it
what?
for that purpose.
It's actually quite good at removing people.
Okay,
And that is
nice.
one thing. It's like I know I could do it myself, but if it saves me
It
20
takes so much
minutes of
time.
clone stamping,
Yeah.
why not?
So I just
I'm a with AI, I'm a great believer of if I could do the process myself, but this is just speeding it up.
totally.
Back when you saw out in photography, you're like, no, I must prove it to myself. I must do these epic trick shots, these big composites and all that. And then you've been here 10 years, you're like, you know what? People only care about the end result. So let's just make sure the end result looks good. And that's all people
Exactly.
care about.
Exactly.
Instagram viewers, clients, they want the end result looking good. They don't care
Exactly.
how you get there. Um, but yeah, I don't typically like indoor shots from cons. I do a lot of outdoor
Yeah.
stuff. Occasionally when there's a really cool like area and con, then I like it. But as we were
Yeah.
saying at the last event, there's not enough shooting space inside the event for photographers. And they
Absolutely not.
that's my feedback to all cons apart from secret con because that's literally your whole purpose. But for all traditional cons that want cosplayers, non-cosplayers, everyone, give us somewhere to shoot that we can market it and be like, oh my
Absolutely.
god, there was this really cool photo opportunity at XYZ con. It was so cool. Because then we're happy to
Absolutely.
go in and meet and do shoots, but otherwise we're outside where the background and lighting's nice.
Totally. I mean, I did a shot with Zoe Little Wolf back in 2019 at Birmingham MCM,
Yeah,
and it wasn't within the con confines itself, but it was round towards the end of the skywalk,
yeah.
and I did a shot of her. She did a female version of the Punisher.
Yes, I've seen the
She's
shot.
there and she's got the rifle in her hands and she's stood at the top of one of the escalators and there's people going towards her, there's people coming from behind and there's loads of people around her and I've just used depth of field to blur those people, but you can see that there's people in the shot and she's there in the middle of all these people and it really worked. And I think,
Yeah,
going back to what you've just said, shots like that within cons can work, but it is quite few and far between and it's quite limited.
yeah.
Um, you know, there's loads of places around XL. I used to hate shooting at XL, but the last year or so, I've actually come to really enjoy it because I've found a few more little places that I can use. Um,
Remind me to start stalking you.
um, there's a few little places that I'll use regularly at certain times of the day.
Yeah,
Um, slightly revealing one of my secrets here, but uh, generally, if I'm going to an MCM event, I'll arrive quite late on the Friday, around sort of 2, 3 o'clock. I'll only plan one shoot that day, and it'll be with someone that I really want to shoot with in a cosplay with I've researched that I like. It'll normally be towards the end of the afternoon when the sun's starting to go down. I'll take them down by the quayside, sort of towards the back end of the sunboard.
yeah,
I'll shoot in the direction of the O2 where
yeah.
the sun is going down. So the sun is like piercing into the camera, but low level, really orange glow. And I'll use a flash and a softbox underexpose and just get a really lovely sort of golden hour sunset shot, but lit
Nice.
by flash. And it's something that I've done now for a few years. I tend to do it at pretty much every MCM with a different cosplayer, and it works every time. And it's just something I enjoy doing. Um, and yeah, so the XL's got a few little quirky spots that are great that are literally within a stone's throw away from the event itself. Um, but you know, I'll generally tend to move around depending on the cosplayer that I'm shooting with and try and use a location around the area that suits the cosplay or suits the style we want to shoot.
Yeah,
Um, for my style at the moment and the types of cosplays I go for, the car park at XL is a big area. There's lots of darkness, nice
Yeah.
sort of textured concrete walls, somewhere where I can sort of break out the RGB lights and really
Yeah.
sort of play around with colors and sort of neon style, sci-fi cyberpunk-esque style shots. But yeah, so I don't put a huge amount of creative planning into con shots,
Yeah.
purely because I use cons more as a socializing tool. It's
Yeah.
great to catch up with. You know, in the time I've been a photographer for 30 years, believe it or not.
Oh,
But
you don't have a day over
then
25.
thank you.
I expect my free
Um,
secret con ticket in the
but
post.
I've only been shooting at cons since 2017. And in that relatively short space of time, 6 years, I've met some amazing people, made some amazing friends, and going to cons is a place where I can meet up with a lot of them in one go.
Yeah.
Because many people are spread far and wide up and down the country. Um, but I also use it. It's a great networking tool
Yeah.
to meet new cosplayers, learn about new things, new brands. I don't spend a huge amount of time wandering in around the halls because, believe it or not, I do sometimes struggle a bit with huge groups of people and crowds. It's never used to bother me. I used to go around the country doing nightclub photography, a lot of stuff for like Mixmag over the years and things like that. But as I've got a little bit older, maybe it's just grumpy old man. I don't know. I don't always want to be in and around tightly packed in like sardines.
I
So if
think
I'm
there's
going
a
to go around,
difference between a club environment where, yes, it is contained,
yeah,
but there's a lot of freedom of movement. People are dancing, people are moving.
yes, yes,
Whereas cons, you normally will have like a center aisle that's relatively free. But as soon as you move down to try and look at
yeah.
anything, you are sort of like
Yeah, it's
funneling
just
through like sardines.
like herding cattle, and then you've got people that almost seem to have no purpose going here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just frustrating, especially when I don't mind if I've stashed my gear somewhere back at the hotel for an hour and go for a wander around. But when you're lugging like a
Yeah.
massive case of gear and there's something else over your shoulder, you probably still got your camera out. It can be frustrating because people aren't always considerate because they're not necessarily expecting to see someone walking around there with loads of gear. So they're kicking your bag. And so
Yeah.
normally I'll go into the con on a Friday if it's a 3-day event when it's a bit quieter, a Saturday morning before general entry goes in, and definitely on a Sunday morning just to check out the stalls. Artist Alley is a great place. I love to take a wander, check
Yeah.
out the artists, check out what's new. Some of the new fandoms that maybe I've not heard about or even seen. It can really be a great source for creative influence. There's always loads of drawings and paintings and artwork around a con, and sometimes I'll be wandering around and I'll see something. I'll be like, you know what, that's given me an idea, and I won't
Yeah.
try and replicate it, but it will spark off something creative.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like I say, I typically only choose probably 2 or 3 cosplayers per day that I definitely want to shoot with. They'll either be people that I've spoke with in advance because they're doing a certain cosplay that I want to shoot, or they've contacted me, um, or it'll just be just one of those things that we've spoke about previously and they said, oh, I'm going to do this at the next con. We've been working on it for 6 months, and then the rest of it I will just play it by ear and find people, let people find me.
Yeah.
One of the things I have learned, and this is again a little bit controversial these days, is I don't say yes to everyone.
Yeah.
And
I'm a
I
people
mean,
pleaser. That's hard.
yeah, well that's it. I would genuinely hate to think that someone had thought that I'd said no to them or tried to avoid them because I didn't like them or their cosplay or it was to do with their quality. Absolutely, categorically, that is not the case. If I say no to someone or I don't want to shoot with someone at that specific time, it is nothing to do with them or their cosplay. It is 100% me. It is either I'm not looking to shoot that style or I've shot that cosplay quite a lot recently. I might be feeling a bit under the weather. I suffer quite bad with my sciatica in my back, and particularly at October cons, it can get quite painful walking around all day.
Yep.
So by sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm done.
I
And
remember
it
October, you literally said to me, you're like, I've told people I'm in the car park. If they want to shoot, they can come down here. I ain't
totally,
moving.
totally, exactly. You know, MCM events in particular are getting hugely busy now. They are very
Which is
popular.
amazing.
It is. It
But
is. It is amazing. I mean, like I say, my first Comic Con was MCM in 2017, just before ReedPop took over, and it was busy. It was nice, but it wasn't hugely busy. Since then, and certainly since the pandemic, I think people have had a lot of time to discover cosplay, get into cosplay, and it's just boomed into this massive great thing, which is fantastic to see. You know,
so something,
cosplay cosplay's
sorry.
been around in the UK now for, a good number of years, but it's
Oh yeah,
always been something that we've taken on from like the likes of the US, and it's really nice to see it
those
booming.
trendsetters.
Um, but by being so successful, it can limit us creatively to it can limit us being able to find people. The recent MCM Birmingham was a case in itself. It was in a different part of the NEC. The normal meeting place where everyone would get together was closed off because there were other events there naturally.
Yeah.
And so it made it quite difficult to get in touch with people. I think there were issues with some of the mobile phone networks that weekend as well.
Yeah, for
So
once, O2 didn't seem to have an issue.
no, no. My partner, Nat Slayer Cosplay, she's on O2 and she didn't have an issue. So I was saying to people, look, just get in touch with her if you need to get in touch with me.
Yeah, because
I'm
I
on
tried getting a
3.
hold of you and I couldn't get you.
Yeah,
So I just
I'm
called her. She's like, yeah, he's here.
yeah.
But
I'm on 3. The Friday, the 3 network was pretty much totally down. I couldn't even make phone calls or send texts. It was shocking. And then some of the other networks had issues. But it was just, yeah, I missed so many people. It was the complete opposite to October. So October, there was, I wanted to keep it quite low key. And I was quite comfortable with the low number of people that I shot with. But the recent Birmingham, it was just, there were so many people that I wanted to catch up with and I just couldn't find, and they couldn't find me. And it's just how it goes sometimes.
yeah.
But coming back to the sort of it's not you, it's me. Yeah,
That
there's
line everyone wants to hear in their life.
I think when you first start doing cons and cosplay photography, I started in cosplay photography before, about 3-4 years before I actually went to my first con. Um, and you do almost become a people pleaser. You want to shoot with everyone. You want to build your name on the scene.
Yeah.
It's something I've focused and worked very hard on. And
This is like I still find weird. Like Birmingham was the worst one for me so far. Just the
yes,
amount of people who were coming up to me and like, oh my god, I've seen your Instagram, your Declan Scammell, right? I'm like, oh god, I don't know how to handle this. It's really weird. And like,
yes,
yeah, my follower numbers are okay, but you don't think that they're real people. There's
no,
some kind of
no.
disconnect in my head that these are just internet likes and internet people, and you're
They're
never
just
going to meet
numbers.
them.
They're on Instagram and Facebook. That apart from maybe a small circle of people that you'll interact with regularly,
Yeah,
they're numbers. They're just data being shifted around. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I still get a bit. construct now when someone comes up to me at an event and, you know, they'll see my t-shirt or they'll just recognize my face, because one of the things I did very early in my cosplay photography is I have my profile picture on my Instagram of me.
Yeah.
And it's something that very early on people were saying to me, especially cosplayers, are saying it's amazing and it's so useful that you do that because it helps us find you at events. A lot of cosplay photographers will have a photo that they've taken of someone else,
Not even
which is
cosplay
great, but
photographers.
it doesn't help you find them at events. There's some photographers on Instagram that I'll interact with, and I barely know what they look like because they don't post any shots of themselves.
Yeah.
So just a tip, ladies and gents. If you want people to find you at events, put a picture of yourself on your Instagram profile pic. It honestly, it helps. Do something creative. Do a self-portrait. Mine's a bit of a sort of officey, geeky sort of shot that I did during lockdown, and I thought, yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And it just it helps. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time building and working through who I want to be as a cosplay photographer. And going back to before that, I didn't used to be a cosplay photographer. I used to be fashion and portrait, lingerie, boudoir,
Yeah.
erotica, all those kinds of genres and levels. Um, I've got a degree in advertising and editorial photography.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I when I only really started using Instagram when I started going to cons in 2017. So I've not really been pushing Instagram that hard, which probably reflects on my follower numbers, which is notoriously difficult to build, by the way. That's a
Yeah.
whole other video. But it's taken me time to decide what I want to shoot, who I want to be within the cosplay community. And to start with, you become a people pleaser. You shoot with everyone. You want to build
Yeah.
yourself. You want to build your reputation, and that can lead you running around events like a Duracell bunny. You don't eat. You
Yeah.
don't sleep properly. You weigh yourself out, and then you take 2 weeks to recover after. That's not healthy. It really is not healthy. But we all do it. We've all been there. Some people are there now. Some people are probably watching this video and thinking, you know what, that's me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I had a conversation with a couple of new cosplay photographers recently, and they said to me, you know, can you give me some tips? Can you give me some advice? And I said to them, look, this is what I do now. This is where I am within my journey in cosplay photography. But if you're not sure what type of thing you want to shoot, what style you want to go for, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with shooting with everyone you want to shoot with, anyone that approaches you, and eventually you will find something that you like. And
Yeah.
more and more photographers now are sort of getting to where I think we are in being very choosy about what they shoot and who they shoot with. Again, not because of the people or bad cosplays or anything like that. You know, everyone's cosplay is amazing. Again, like us as photographers, cosplayers are all at different points of their journey. Some are
Yeah.
new, some are experienced, some have got crafting skills, some have just got ideas and visions but can't craft themselves, so commission or buy. Nothing wrong with any of that at all. Cosplay, people often forget the play part of cosplay. It's
Yeah.
fun, you know. None of us should take this too seriously unless it's
And
your paid job, which is very few and far between.
I'm a
Um,
big fan of shooting with people at all levels,
absolutely,
because I actually
absolutely,
find I get some of the best shots with
totally.
I don't mean this how it sounds, but the lower level cosplays,
Yeah,
the people who have
totally.
one cosplay or they've been working on that cosplay all year for this one event, because they know the character so well. Whereas you get people who plan 3 cosplays for every event because they look cool, but they don't know how the character should act, should move, should look. So the pictures all end up looking like that person as a character.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter to me how many followers you've got on social media. I don't care.
Yeah.
Does your cosplay suit what I want to shoot? Is it something I'm a fan of? Is it something I'm into? That's checkpoint number one. Are you committed, know the character, love the character, and as into it as I am? That's number two. That's it. That, as long as those 2 boxes are ticked, I'm happy. Like yourself, some of the best shots I get and have got are with people that have got lower followings, are newer to it. I'm going to shout this guy out because he's amazing. One guy I shoot with quite a lot lately is Project Cosplay UK, Terry. I shoot a lot of Cyberpunk, Johnny Silverhand stuff, and John Wick stuff with him. He is absolutely amazing. Seriously, guys, just go to my profile, check out the stuff I've shot with him. He's got like
look for the big yellow bus. You did
totally.
the most amazing shoot at 2 of my favorites were the Buffy bus at MCM October.
Yeah.
And he was at the Cyberpunk event, wasn't he? Because you shot that picture of him in the bar with a cigarette.
With a cigarette, that's right.
Those are 2 of my favorite shots.
So yeah, he's got like 1,300 followers, which is criminal.
I was shocked when I looked at him the other day. I thought he'd be over 10K.
He is so committed to what he does. He builds a lot of the stuff himself in his garage at home. It's just totally self-taught skills. But he is so committed to what he does. And on top of that, he is such a super nice guy. He genuinely recognizes and appreciates the people that shoot with him. So myself and other photographers and videographers, he loves that.
Am I the only one that gets like intimidated by cosplayers in the most loving way? But I'm always like, oh my God, do you want to shoot with me? Oh my God, do you want to talk to me? Like Jordan and Lucy, like who I literally go to cons with.
Yeah.
Me and Jordan started talking like 5 years ago now. Before I was going through my medical treatment. And then friendship blossomed, went from there. But it's this big thing of like, then I was introduced to Chester. I was like, oh my God, I remember following this guy for like years. Oh my God, he wants to talk to me. And like the messages we now send each other, because it's hilarious. But I do get that, like, oh my God, why do these people want to talk?
So I started shooting with Chester back in 2018, when I think Chester again was quite relatively new to cosplaying, going to cons, and he dropped me a message. I think he'd seen some stuff that I'd shot in 2017, and he was like, oh, I'd really like to shoot with you. And we did some group stuff, and we kind of pretty much got into a habit of shooting at every con we went to. And I've seen him kind of blossom and grow as a cosplayer. You know, in the sort of 5 years or so that we've been shooting.
You need to keep the secret, but Chester's actually quite a nice person.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And you know what? Again, there are some amazing people that I've met through shooting at cons. But yeah, it's strange because I started shooting at cons, but I was still predominantly posting non-cosplay content. And then over a transition period of probably about 18 months to 2 years, subconsciously, I started posting and shooting less non-cosplay and more cosplay. And it's now got to the point where if I post a non-cosplay shot, it gets very little engagement because the majority of my audience is now cosplay.
Yeah, this is the same for me. I was like, oh, I should put some of my non-cosplay work up.
And it's a bit troubling because I do want to start shooting some non-cosplay again. I've got some really cool projects that I'm I've been working on ideas for now for about 12 months, and I'm like, well, do I shoot them? Because is it going to get the engagement? And I've decided next year I'm just going to shoot them, because one of the things I've become more comfortable with in the last 6 months is that, you know, the numbers on Instagram and social media don't matter to a
Yeah.
degree. They do if you're chasing the creator passes and things which we spoke about previously,
Go
but
watch that video.
they don't matter in real life. If you want to create some art for you and not for what you think people might want to see.
Very
People
true.
are genuinely following you because they like what they see on your profile. And if what they see on your profile is genuinely you, then shoot you. If people like it, they'll still follow you. If they
Yeah.
don't, they won't. And that's just as simple as that. You know, people need to stop creating stuff for followers, unless that's genuinely what you do as a job, if you're a content creator. And they need to start creating more for their own artistic values and ideas.
I think people
That's
need to
where I
try
am.
not pigeonhole themselves. There's a
Totally.
lot of newer content creators who are trying so hard to get into the content creation sphere, and they basically end up pigeonholing themselves, and then something goes viral, and then they try and
Yeah,
replicate it.
exactly. People are trying to second guess what people want to see. People are trying to build their numbers on social media quickly. And I'm going to say this, some people will agree, some people won't. There's only a couple of ways to do that, either by being very lucky or paying for it. Simple.
Yep.
If you want to build your numbers quickly, pay for it. I don't necessarily think that that's the right thing to do. It's questionable in terms of Instagram's policies. I've known people to get shut down for buying followers. But if numbers are important to you and you want to build your profile quickly, that is pretty much one of the only ways to do it, unless you get lucky.
The biggest
Um,
issue with buying followers is you end up with a really disproportionate amount of likes to
absolutely.
followers.
It's
You end up
it's
with,
it's a rabbit hole, because you end up then having to buy likes,
yeah.
because everything looks, like you say, out of proportion.
I know people who are on like £30 a month monthly subscriptions for their Instagram likes. And I'm
Yeah,
like, is it worth it? You're not earning £30 a month from
no,
this.
no,
So you're paying
exactly.
£30 a month to look popular.
Exactly. And if that's your end game, if some people, it might be worthwhile because you might be getting creator passes to every event because of it. And if you're getting £300 a year more, or more back in free passes, then it can be worth it. Or if it's giving you links into affiliate schemes or things like that because you're a content creator, then again, it can be worth it. I prefer organic followers because I want my follower base to interact with me. I want them to
Yeah.
put comments whether they like my work, comments on what they like about my work. Um, and I want them to engage with me on a one-to-one level. That's more
Yeah.
important to me than numbers.
I'm not going to say I don't care about numbers, because we wouldn't be on
Absolutely.
Instagram posting stuff if we didn't care at all.
Totally.
But I I would much rather have actual engagement from people that are actually enjoying my content and will comment or like DM me something or say, "Oh, why did you do this? Why did that work? Oh, that looks really cool." Than 1,000 bots liking something and me going, "Yay, self gratification."
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
think that's everything for this video. But we're going to have a fun video coming up talking about kit and what we pack for cons. So that will be the next one for people. If you'd
Excellent.
like to plug your socials.
So I'm iPhoto UK on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which I'm relatively new to, so head over there
I'm
and give me
loving
a
your
follow.
TikTok. The fact you finally
Thank
got
you.
it.
I'm struggling to find my creative journey on there and what I want to do. On Twitter, I am I_photo UK. Don't use it too often, but Instagram is my main profile.
Amazing. If people could do a like, a follow, a subscribe, a comment with a question, or at least your favorite emoji, just to get the algorithm liking us, that'd be amazing.